Do you think things have come to a head now? This is it. As in, when you say that it's crossed all limits.
Exactly. Good evening to the viewers, especially on this issue. What Tamil Nadu moved to the Supreme Court. To some extent, I would say that the move is going to give a clarity on the constitutional issue, which is stated in Article 200. Of course, the Article 200 is not that much clear. I would say rather. Maybe our the promoters or maybe the founders of the constitution, they were not thought that the country will face such an issue in future. However, our constitution is always elastic and flexible. That is the advantage of our constitution. So nothing wrong in amending if at all it is required, especially on the constitutional aspects. And this is only an administrative issue or a smooth functioning of the assembly, especially the constitutional authority or a governor and the state. The move of Tamil Nadu, especially to seeking an amendment in the constitution, I would say that there is nothing wrong in it. Yes, the Supreme Court can think
Yeah, fine.
that
Yeah, I'll come to
fixing a
Article,
time
Satish, I'll
frame.
come to Article 200, but I'm saying when you call a special session, it obviously means that it is now the water has risen way beyond danger levels. Otherwise, why it's not like, also it was this, the court has spoken. So I think, I do not know, maybe I'll, do you think that it is now a stage where things have come to, like we say, a head?
No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the question raised by the Honorable Chief Justice was viewed so differently in a different version and different language. This is a normal question generally in a court during the course of arguments or discussion in the court. The judges, they raise questions. But I'm quite little bit surprised in what context the Chief Justice of India has raised this question, and how you, sorry
Arey,
to
it is
say that, how
not,
the
Satish,
media,
I'll
maybe
come,
people
no,
have
no,
given colors to that.
I'll come to a detailed discussion, but even the last time, while he was talking about the governor of Punjab, he was talking about the Kerala governor, even then he had used words which he is an honorable CJI. I will not say anything which goes against the honor of a court like that and a position of his chair, but he minced no words. He said, what about the people's rights? Time is wasted. Today what he said, what were you doing for 2 years? What about democracy? He's used words which are people's friendly. I'll come to you. Prashant, I want to come to you. Prashant, my question to you, does it behove well for a governor of a state to make comments which reflect on the ruling government? I'm going to pick out two. One is foreign trade doesn't really bring investments. When Muka Stalin went abroad and said that we have been able to invite or attract investments, and also calling Dravidian ideology dead. I mean, come on, you're a constitutional head. If you keep saying I'm a constitutional head, then why do you interfere in politics, Prashant?
Sudha, firstly, we have to understand in what context the governor was making those statements, saying that foreign trips would not result in investments or whatever. Those will be his statements made in a particular context, and depending on the questions that are posed to him, or depending on which conference or audience he was addressing to. Because it might not have been necessarily to say that coming down heavily on the DMK government and said that Mr. Stalin, you're not supposed to go outside India and bring investments. No, I don't think that would have been the intention at all. And coming to the other important facet of the powers and the lines that have to be drawn between being holding a constitutional post and being in regular politics, I don't think in the present case it is a case of the governor misusing his position as a constitutional head to do an act which is politically sensitive, because given the state of affairs now, out of the 181 bills that was presented to the governor's office in the last 3 years, more than 150 have received assent. About nine bills, or 5 or 9 bills have been withdrawn by the government itself. About 15 bills were pending, out of which 5 or 6 have been tabled in October. The most of the 10 bills, which now is the matter of debate, pertains to some universities and other things where the governor, being the chancellor, is being challenged. So, governor
First of
necessarily look
all,
into it.
Prashant, first of all, I do not agree with you that the governor, I think, I've spoken to a lot of experts. Now, the thing is, either we politicize it or we respect the chair that he occupies. If the chair that he occupies has to be respected, and by all means, then let him not get into politics. I've just given you 2 examples. There are at least 20.
Sudha,
20
there may be.
examples.
What I'm saying is,
Let me know. It cannot be let it be. Sorry, you can't say let it be.
Sudha,
Why are you
no,
saying
Sudha,
this?
let me complete. Sudha, let me complete
And
my
all
point.
the
What I'm saying
bills
is,
that
you've
you
given
said
two
which are
instances.
pending, which have to do with the university, they are saying, some experts are saying, because it will divest him of his powers, he is very bothered about it. Opening comments.
Need not necessarily.
Prashant, I'm coming. Prashant,
It need not go
please
with him
wait
being
your
divested of
turn.
powers.
Dharan. Dhananjay, I see you also. Hello. I'll come to you. Opening comments, and then we can all debate, but no shouting. I mean, particularly today, I can't shout. My throat's gone for a 6, although cricket we lost, but my throat is kind of, like crazily bad. Selam Dharan, I want to talk to you. That, what made the government to call a special session? Of course, the matter is in court. There are no 2 ways about it. But what is it? Some people are saying it's because your government doesn't seem to be, feels cornered just now, in the sense, when it comes to, there are corruption charges, there are lots of other things, and therefore, your government first wants to rid itself of this impediment called R N Ravi issue. Your opening statements, Selam Dharan.
Vanakkam Sudha, thank you for having me in your show.
Vanakkam.
It's very simple. In a democracy, who elects the MLAs? People elect their MLAs. MLAs are people's representatives. So why do they go to the assembly? To represent the voice of the people who have chosen them. So keeping that in mind, they choose an chief minister, and chief minister forms his council of ministers. So basically, whatever the council of ministers decide or the legislature decides is nothing but will of the 8.3 crore Tamil Nadu people. As simple as that. Right. So when governor is withholding assent to bills passed by the assembly or acting in contravention to the decision of the assembly, which means that he is disrespecting the will of the 8.3 crore Tamil Nadu people rather. So which means that he is acting as a blot to the democracy in this land. How can he sit on a bill for 3 years? Such gubernatorial procrastination is completely not acceptable. Right, justice delayed is justice denied. So why are you not allowing us to function? The reason why he went to the Supreme Court is because he's not letting us function. Let's see, all this corruption is all this politics. ED. Let's go to what is the conviction rate of ED? 0.01%. So does ED investigation mean that party is corrupt? Absolutely not. 95% of the ED cases in BJP regime have been filed on the opposition politicians, and there has been 10 times more increase in ED cases in comparison 2004 to 2004.
The thing is, I get your point.
No important point. The same Governor R N Ravi has been sitting on permission to investigate ex-AIDMK ministers, now MLAs, who were actually investigated by the CBI and charge sheets were filed. In one case, I can say, is the Gupka scam. So there's nothing to do with politics.
That's why I want Dhananjay to, put a kind of a prism on this. Dhananjay, this is what I said in my opening remarks. Make no mistake, this is more about politics. I mean, I have also lived through many years and, followed politics. I have seen slug-fest, but this slug-fest is the mother of all slug-fest, Dhananjay. So, do you think that there is a major part of it, the legalese part of it is very important, that's why you and Satish are here. But do you think a major part of it is to do with politics and legalese rather than the other way around?
Well, there is no doubt that what the governor is doing in several states where the opposition is in power, that is in fact not acceptable under our constitution. But politics aside, if you start looking at how governors have been partisan since our independence, you will find that governors, of course, have been partisan. The question is always of degree only. Until the S.R. Bommai judgment came in 1998, it was that there were so many instances where the governors were recommending for president's rule. And that, in fact, largely came down after the Bommai judgment of the Supreme Court. So now you have this new pattern of governors withholding assent to bills, which was never in the contemplation of our framers. Now, there is a suggestion that we must go ahead and then amend the constitution. But if you keep amending the constitution every time there is partisan behavior by someone, then the constitution will become
So
unmanageable.
what does it mean, Dhananjay? Then it's a kind of an impasse, right? I mean, it's an impasse. Now, I am asking you, if the governor is a constitutional authority only, I will not use rubber stamp and all that. I mean, it's really colonial. So, if he is a constitutional authority only, then under no circumstances can he withhold a bill, or he can?
Well, what happens is the governor acts as a nominal person only when he, in fact, assents
Right.
to a large number of bills. That nominal position means that he is deprived of the discretion to either delay the matter or to ask unnecessary questions. Now, what seems to be happening is, in a large number of cases, the governors are simply sitting, still over these bills, over which they simply don't have the discretion to delay in that manner. And that is why the Supreme Court, in fact, has been making these oral observations. Mind you, the Supreme Court is yet to pass a detailed order on this aspect. All that they have done so far is to pass oral observations. And mindful of the fact that the office of the governor and the president is one where the courts generally tend to have a great deal of difference. So the courts would not even issue a notice to the governor, because if you do issue notice to the governor, then the governor would be duty bound to answer in the form of an affidavit, because the Constitution of India, Article 361, gives a kind of immunity to the governor and to the president. Courts in this country, that is the high courts and the Supreme Court, would not even issue notice to the governor or to the president.
Okay.
So given that position, the Supreme Court's oral observations will tell you that the Supreme Court is taking this matter so seriously that they absolutely see no justification for any of the governors to withhold assent to the bills.
Absolutely.
Now, it's important.
Yeah, Satish, there you have the answer from a fellow advocate. You know what the Supreme Court has said, and I do not know, but I have read, what Singhvi said, what Wilson said. I was reading it, Dhananjay, and I think the court has made very strong observations. Their observations being about wastage of time, their observation being rights of the people in a democracy. And Satish, I want to ask you this for the benefit of the viewers. How many times can a governor actually send a bill to the president for consideration? I mean, if whoever is the honorable president of this country, if I am the governor, I can't keep sending it for assent, then it comes again, then what is this? I mean, this is not a kind of a relay race, right? There has to be some limit on it. Would you agree?
Sudha, basically we should understand that why the governor is sending the bill back, and he sends the bill always with a message. That message has a meaning in it. See, if the government really is looking out for what reasons the bills have been sent back, the government is bound to rectify it. See, in this case, especially on the 10 bills issue, I don't want to go into the facts of the case because the 10 bills is totally, according to the governors, according to our understanding also, it is unconstitutional because changing the powers of the vice chancellor and all those issues are there. That is, according to the governor's stand, it is unconstitutional. Hence, he is sending the bills back. And it is in case of an amendment, I'm telling you very clearly, in case a small amendment or rectification is required, then it is, the governor can give a suggestion for corrections. But in this case, especially on the 10 bills, it is not a matter of suggestion. The entire bill itself is unconstitutional. For that only he is sent back. And with a message. It is the fact is very clear.
What is unconstitutional?
Such bills cannot be passed.
Selan, Dharanidharan, come in. What is unconstitutional? I mean, what is unconstitutional about these 10 bills? Dharanidharan, go ahead, unmute yourself, please.
There is nothing unconstitutional in these bills because Gujarat Assembly and now Prime Minister Modi was the Chief Minister have given the then Governor given assent to these bills in which the Vice Chancellor could be directly chosen by the Chief Minister. I'll also tell you why it is not unconstitutional, because who funds the Tamil Nadu universities? Money of the Tamil Nadu taxpayers, right? And who gives the mandate to the Tamil Nadu government to enact legislation? People, because people have voted DMK government to power. So, and this was even some bills from ADMK regime are now pending. So, who is he to sit on those bills? See, we follow Westminster system, right? See, like investment in England, they follow the same system. Who's equivalent to a governor, president there? King or the queen? So, ever seen a king or a queen, the crown rather, not giving assent or withholding assent to any of these bills in the last 300 years? It has never happened in the British democracy.